the mainstream media might have anti-Christian bias?
There's definitely some sort of an agenda, but I feel like it shifts throughout the years, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that it would be considered a hate crime if you burn a church?
It depends your reason for it.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the context because
Because it's just different from each person's point of view.
I think it's because there's maybe in the news, people are just talking about bigger things than the church is burning down, as in, for example, the Palestine and Israel war.
But I don't get all exercised about it because, to me it just doesn't affect me.
Something that's a part of God. A lot of people believe in nowadays. We believe in it's a religion. Got burnt down, and no one absolutely cares about it because they're gonna go talk about the next celebrity or like, oh, the celebrity got pregnant or something. Like, it's insane.
Sarah Stock for Rebel News. We're here in Little Portugal in Toronto, standing in front of St. Anne's Anglican Church. It burnt down yesterday morning just before 8 a.m., went all the way up in flames. In the way the mainstream media is talking about this church, the focus seems to be, this church was a symbol for the community. People would meet in this church and have dinner. This church, they're focusing on the artwork and the architectural design, which, yes, that's important, and I think it does make the church stand out. But in the grand scheme of things, there have been more than 40 churches in the past couple of years that have been burnt down, whether by arson or whether by inconclusive investigations that could have been arson. Now, this came after insufficient claims about residential schools committing a genocide against Indigenous people. And when Justin Trudeau talked about these events, he said this torching of churches was understandable.
As I've also said, it is unacceptable and wrong that acts of vandalism and arson are being seen across the country, including against Catholic churches. One of my reflections is I understand the anger that's out there against the federal government, against institutions like the Catholic Church. It is real and it is fully understandable.
So what's to stop Canadians from burning down churches? Imagine if this was a Jewish synagogue or a Muslim mosque. The mainstream media would have the same reaction. Well, we're here in Yonge Dundas Square, which is soon to be named Sankofa Square, by the way, because apparently Henry Dundas was a racist, even though he was an abolitionist. But regardless, it's noisy here as usual. There's lots of people around, so this is the perfect place to talk to your average Toronto resident and see if they've even heard of the 100 churches that have either been vandalized or burnt down in the past couple of years, and see how that relates to the St. Anne's Church that was just burnt down yesterday. Have they heard of that? Not sure. Let's see if anyone sees a connection here. Do you know that there's 47 churches in Canada, Christian churches, that have been burnt down either by arson or suspected arson just these past couple of years? Have you heard about that?
No, not at all.
Not at all?
No.
Why do you think you haven't heard of that?
I don't know. It hasn't been in the news.
I actually haven't, no.
No?
I have not.
You haven't?
no.
Okay. Why do you think that is that you haven't?
I'm not too sure. I'm not too involved with Christian media myself.
What was the question?
I hear about that, but I don't know much about this.
You don't know?
I did not know that, no.
Didn't know that?
No, I did not.
Why do you think you haven't heard about that?
Because the news is censored in our country, maybe? Wow, that's very unfortunate.
Did you know it?
I did not.
You haven't even heard about it anywhere?
Maybe I have and just forgot, but I don't know, to be honest.
No.
You haven't? Why do you think that is that you haven't heard of it?
I'm not sure. It's not on the news. Maybe it's not that big of a deal.
For real? I've not heard that. I've not heard about that.
Why do you think you haven't heard about why aren't people making a big deal about this?
Yeah, because this is 2024, right? People are not as religious.
Have you heard of that?
I have not.
You haven't heard that?
No.
A little bit of it.
A little bit?
A little bit.
Did you hear about the church that burnt down yesterday?
I did not hear about those.
Let's just think about this. Do you think if it was 47 Jewish synagogues or Muslim mosques, do you think you would have heard of it?
Well, yeah, but are you sure that there are 47 churches burned down? That's an awfully large number.
Yeah, probably more than that were accidents, but it's 47 that are either confirmed arson or suspected arson.
Yeah, no, I wasn't aware.
Did you hear about that in Toronto? Or no?
That I actually didn't hear either, no.
No?
Sorry, no.
Like, why do you think that is that you haven't heard of it? Like, it seems like it's like a pattern, you know what I mean, of these hate crimes.
Personally, I would not be involved in any type of Christian things because I'm a First Nations person, and just because due to residential school and the pain that it put all of my family through, I prefer not to deal with it.
Okay. Do you think that this would be considered a hate crime if you're burning a church down because it's a place of worship?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Do you think the mainstream media might have anti-Christian bias?
There's definitely some sort of an agenda, but I feel like it shifts throughout the years, you know?
Yeah, for sure. In the government, these same mainstream media sources like the CBC, they like to call a lot of things hate crimes, right? Yeah. But when we hear all these churches have burned, I haven't heard the word hate crime used once, and it's a place of worship. Why do you think that is?
Shit. I don't know, honestly. Kind of got me stumped there.
I think it's because there's maybe in the news people are just talking about bigger things than the church is burning down, as in, for example, the Palestine and Israel war. But it is an important issue, but I just think that people just don't really exactly know what's going on because it's not really out there.
Not too much. I don't know. It just seems to be a fairly common occurrence now.
Yeah. Why is it so common? What could the motivation be, do you think?
Well, what kind of church was it that was burned down? What religious?
This was an Anglican church.
Anglican church. See, I'm an atheist, so to me, like, all churches and synagogues.
Well, the churches that have been burnt down, they were from all sorts of different denominations all over Canada. So it wasn't, it's kind of a common misconception they were all Catholic churches, but there's Anglican, United Church, Lutheran. It's a pretty big assortment.
I mean, let's face it, anything to be burned down like that, it's bad, and I certainly don't condone it, but I don't get all exercised about it because, to me it just doesn't affect me.
It doesn't affect you, is that what you said?
No, because I don't go to churches or synagogues.
I do respect the churches. I respect everyone, but it's just coming from my personal point of view, so that I wouldn't really be involved.
Do you think that it would be considered a hate crime if you burn a church?
It depends your reason for it.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the context, because
it's just different from each person's point of view,
I think it's, I don't think it's okay to disrespect people's religious beliefs like that. Like, you can take it up with the church without, messing up their place.
I don't know if there are 47 Jewish synagogues or Muslim mosques that were burnt down in Canada, do you think you would have heard about it?
Yes, I do think so, because I think was a couple reasons. One, I think those two religions are very vocal, and they, again, not to get too religious or whatever, but I think those religions actually stand for their beliefs.
I don't know, maybe the media's trying to hide it? I'm not sure.
Do you think that might have to do with, the kind of bias there? They're not going to call it a hate crime. Even Justin Trudeau, he said, oh, you shouldn't do that, but it's understandable. That's what he said about burning churches.
One of my reflections is I understand the anger that's out there against the federal government, against institutions like the Catholic Church. It is real, and it is fully understandable.
What do you think about him saying that?
Yeah, it's kind of like, shit, you got me there. I mean, it's kind of it's like you're feeding them something to work with, right? It's like...
Yeah, I think it's a hate crime because, it's destroying property, right? That's already a crime already. So, I think it's a hate crime. Let everyone do whatever they want to do, to be honest.
This is an important thing. Something that's a part of God. A lot of people believe in nowadays. We believe in. It's a religion. Got burnt down, and no one absolutely cares about it because they're going to go talk about the next celebrity or oh, the celebrity got pregnant or something. It's insane.
Crime is a very subjective term, and it's very, very hard to decide if something's done because of something being Jewish or something being Muslim or something being Christian. Probably there is a motive, but then it could just be random violence. I don't know. It's hard to prove.
I mean, do you think if it was 47 transgender care facilities that were burnt down, do you think people would call it a hate crime?
That for sure, yeah.
Oh, 100%. I think it's yellow tape. Everyone's going crazy. Yeah, I think they'd probably value that more than the churches, to be honest.
Why do you think our culture has gone to that point where people don't seem to care?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Maybe just propaganda and shit. I don't know.
Okay. Do you think that's considered a hate crime if you burn a church?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that the government would call it that?
No.
Well, we've talked to a lot of different kinds of people here today, but one thing seems to be in common. Not very many people have heard anything about these churches burning down. I wonder why that could be. For Rebel News, it's Sarah Stock. If you would like to help support our on-the-ground independent journalism and see more stories like this when talking to real people in Canada, please head over and make a donation at rebelfieldreports.com.